Hello everyone. Today I'm making a little guide on one of the expeditions. You unlock these by completing the story. I believe it is chapter 3 or 4, and you should actually rush to complete the story and unlock the expedition as soon as possible because the rewards you get from not the special expedition but the other 5 are insanely useful for rune upgrades and skill upgrades since these drop quite a bit. And I just wanted to make a guide on this little fire Tallades guy. After beating all 5 of these, some of them I can beat level 4, some of them I can only beat 2 or 3. Uh, I must say that the fire Tallades guy is by far the easiest one. So whenever he gets the bonus drops, so you'll see that the Today tab is selected. That means that you get the 2 free entries for that dungeon. I already used mine, but basically you would get 2 entries each day. You should always use those 2 entries on the boss that shows today. If you cannot beat other bosses on level 2 or higher, just go for level 1, since level 1 does not have any requirements, and level 2 and above has certain monster conditions. So just to give an example, so level 2 would have, for this boss, it would require you to have 1 archer and 1 fire support unit, whilst the level 1 of all of these dungeons does not have any. So if you can do level 2 or higher, make sure to at least do level 1, as you get these sky stones, which are super important for upgrading various runes, equipment, stuff like that. And skill points, you actually get quite a bit. So you get both pieces, and you get sometimes drop a full skill point, which you can later use to upgrade your summoner skills. And I think I already invested like 100 additional skill points into my character, and it boosted my stats by quite a bit. And yeah, which dungeon you choose to do is up to you. Some days you are only able to do one, but on days where you have several ones unlocked, you can choose the easiest one. And I'm making a guide on Fire Tallades because he's by far the easiest in my opinion. First of all, he does not do a lot of damage. Second of all, his strategy is super easy to counter, and I'll talk about what he does in a minute. And yeah, whenever he gets the today bonus, I would recommend going for the 2 daily entries, refreshing it once. I've already done mine today for the water guy, but you should also refresh it once for 200 crystals and do another 2 runs. And whenever he comes around, I would recommend using all of your expedition tickets, as he'll most likely, for the majority of you, will be the boss that is easiest to beat at the highest level, both because of his requirements as well as the overall strength. And what the strategy for this boss is essentially he sometimes applies crit rate up and crit damage up on itself. And the goal of basically countering him is applying damage over time effects, so he does not get a buff preventing damage on him. So if you are not sure what a dot is, or damage over time, it's several different effects that give sort of poison ticks of damage. So a few of them are bleed, burn, frostbite, poison, and electric shock. So these 5 are. Burn is mostly applied by fire units, bleed is mostly applied by wind units, I believe. Or, yeah, one of those. Frostbite usually by water, poison differs, and electric shock usually by wind, but essentially these 5 are damage over time effects, and as long as the boss have at least one of these on him at all times, he will not get a damage reduction buff, and you will have a way easier time killing him. So for some units that have that damage over time, so if you participated in the summoning event, Tiamar's is one of them. His second skill applies Frostbite, and since he hits multiple times, he has several chances to apply Frostbite, so you're definitely gonna have an easier time applying it. I believe she actually applies burn on one of her skills. But you need death burn, so yeah, it won't work for this. But yeah, the easiest choice I would recommend is Tiamat, and you'll see in my teams that I used him for both teams, as I feel like a lot of people will already have a Tiamat and will have an easier time completing this dungeon with him. Just to look over a few other units that have these effects, which could be useful for you. So as for burn, yeah, mostly fire units. I haven't looked into all of the units yet, but seeing as I haven't built any, I'm not gonna recommend a lot of them. If you have some of these units and you feel like they could be useful for the dungeon, I would recommend going for them. Of course, I would recommend going for water unit primarily, since the... Wait, did I select freeze? I selected freeze. Selected freeze, my bad. Not freeze, we need first bite. There you go, misclicked it. So yeah, Tiamat, her. Other than that, I've tested him. I've read his skills and I tried using him, but I do not recommend building the M champion. He's not too good in most of the dungeons. Cowgirl might be a shout as well, as she's pretty decent. The rest of these I do not recommend building unless you already have the Netfires, for example, built. But yeah, easiest choices will definitely be Tiamat and the Warrior Cadley. Warrior Cadley, I don't know her name, just high elemental basically. And yeah, for the runs themselves, I essentially used one of the teams that are in the leaderboards. I've built two teams, so the first one in the video you'll see will be Bastet, Helia, and Tiamat. This one did way faster runs. On average, they were around 20 seconds. I also used if you do not have the Dark Helia or you use the Light and Dark Celestial ticket for something like Tion or another unit, I also did one a little easier to obtain with Konamiya, so essentially Konamiya lead, Bastet, and Tiamat. That one you actually have an easier way of building with higher power, since Konamiya is also water and will get a decent power buff, as well as it is a little bit safer due to the healing it provides. So your Tiamat will be doing most of the damage, as well as your summoner if you have some damage build, while Bastet and Konamiya protects and boosts your skills. And yeah, other than that, I'll leave you with a video of two of the teams completing these runs. Runs are around sub 30 seconds for most teams. Konamiya one is a little slower, but the one with Dark Helia is around 20 seconds, so a little bit faster, but the 10 seconds difference definitely doesn't make that much of an impact. And yeah, videos are going here. At the end of those few runs with each team, you'll see runes that I've used, as well as skill ups on all the monsters. And see you in the next one. My body aches to be satisfied. My weakness comes and goes. My weakness comes and goes. I'm reaching out for the easy high. Please fortify this strength of mine. My weakness comes and goes. My weakness
go.